Monday, May 16th, and we will call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Bospis Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Talentino,
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
Commissioner Miller called, and he unfortunately tested positive for COVID, so he's in quarantine, and we need to excuse him this evening.
I will make that motion.
Support. It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unfortunately, State of Michigan has not updated or improved the Open Meetings Act rules yet to accommodate things like this, because he could attend if we were able to have a hybrid type of meeting, and the legislature and governor said they were going to work on that a couple years ago, and that hasn't happened yet. So this would have been the perfect opportunity for Commissioner to be here with us, but no go yet. So if everybody that can stand, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Item 4 is mayor comments and general announcements. I think I'll just make one and comment on the jersey in front of the dais. Thank you to the City of Sault Ste. Marie for an outstanding turnout to recognize our Olympian, Abby Rock. Had a reception at Kuwaitan Casino in the Dreammakers Theater, and she stood in line for, had to be 2-3 hours, signing autographs and taking pictures with everybody, and it was really a great event and a great turnout. The Sioux did really rally behind her during the Olympics, and she's really an outstanding young individual. And to be thrown at the age of 23, I think she is, into a international spotlight, and to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated and all the other PR that she had, and to be as humble as she was. And she was really proud of her Sault Ste. Marie roots, so that was really very neat to see. So she presented us with this jersey and signed it, and we'll hang it prominently somewhere in the Puller Stadium after we get a shadow box or something to protect it. And we did present her with a proclamation and key to the city on behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Commission, administration, and certainly residents. So great job, community, for backing. This community always helps out people in a pinch when things are bad, but rally too when things are good, and pretty exciting and very flattering to see the city come together like that. We don't have any proclamations or recognitions. Did you want to introduce the fire chief? My stuff. Your stuff? All right. So we will move on to item C, which is public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment on any of our scheduled agenda items this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on into D, the consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of May 2nd, 2022. Item 3, acceptance of the airport advisory meeting minutes of March 10th, 2022. Item 3, acceptance of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting minutes of March 8th, 2022. Item 4, acceptance of the Special Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes of November 29th, 2021. Item 5, acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes of March 8th, 2022. Item 6, acceptance of the Police and Fire Pension Board meeting minutes of March 16th, 2022. Item 7, acceptance of the Tax Increment Finance Authority meeting minutes of March 8th, 2022. Item 8, appointment of Christine Roll and Stephanie Petro to the Parks and Recreation Board. Item 9 is acceptance of Commissioner Collins' resignation. Item 10 is consideration of a multi-product resolution with Fifth Third Bank. Item 11, request for a resolution of support for utilization of 3 Mile Road as a detour route for the M129 reconstruction project. Item 12, consideration to approve a multimodal project discretionary grant opportunity resolution. Item 13, consideration to approve an MEDC revitalization and placemaking grant resolution. And item 14 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Certainly a lengthy consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions or comments on any of these items, or would you like any of these removed for individual consideration? Seeing none, Commissioner Twardy.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? A roll call vote on the consent agenda.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Moving on into E, special orders of business. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration, the first of 3 different public hearings regarding the budget process. The first is a public hearing regarding the final resolution of the general appropriations for 2022-2023 fiscal year. This is kind of the first, or this is the last step in finalizing the general fund budget for next year. As the commission will recall, we've been working on this since January. We held our budget workshop at the end of April. We presented the commission a balanced budget. We had some discussion on there. There wasn't a lot of changes on there, so there aren't a lot of changes, if any, within the appropriations from what you were given during the budget workshops and the process. So first, we would look for a public hearing to receive comments on the general appropriations, and after that, a vote to adopt the final resolution for the general appropriations.
Thank you, City Manager. So we will move into a public hearing on the final resolution of the general appropriations for 2022-2023 fiscal year. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions or comments on the proposed budget at this time? So again, this is a public hearing on the proposed budget. So we will close the public hearing and go to the City Commission. Any questions or comments for the City Manager? We have agonized over this for several months, and I know that you start this process back in November, and just a couple comments I think we talked about before. This has been a strange period over the last few years with COVID and some of the changes that have happened. There have been a lot of changes within the city. And we are very pleased to see the result of your work, Finance Director's work, and all the administrative staff's work, to be able to maintain staff within the city, be able to re-add the firefighters that we weren't able to fill positions previously, fill police department positions. Certainly, public safety is paramount. One of the main reasons that we exist is government, and also able to round out some of the projects. Certainly would like to see a lot more projects to be able to do going forward, but I think it's a reasonable and good budget, so we appreciate all the work that you and all the staff have done on it. So, Commissioner Baspas Rath, would you like to make a motion to?
Absolutely. Motion to adopt the included final resolution of general appropriations for the 2022-2023 fiscal year with details by fund as provided in the resolution.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion has passed. Special orders of business, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a public hearing and a request to approve the water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2022-2023. Again, this is the final step within the budgetary process for these enterprise funds. The budget itself maintains the level of services and the staff while providing funding for maintenance and projects next fiscal year, and starts to lay the groundwork for projects the following fiscal year. So we would look for a public hearing to receive input and then a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Thank you, City Manager. So we will open a public hearing to review the water and sewer rates for 2022-23 fiscal year. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Public hearing on the water and sewer rates. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and move to the city commission. Any questions or comments? Got a quiet group in the audience, and Commissioner Bauer, would you like to make this motion?
Sure. I move to adopt the resolution of water and sewer rates for the 2022-2023 fiscal year with detailed rates as provided in the resolution.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any
Thanks, you
que-
left me hanging there for a second. It's like, is anybody gonna support this?
No comments, no support. Any questions or comments before we have a roll call vote? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baskus Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Item E, special orders of business, number 3, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is approval of resolution to establish the three tax levies. Who giggled back there? That is assessed to the city. The general, I lost my spot, the general operating tax levy, the solid waste millage, as well as the police and fire retirement millage are all set to be at the same level next fiscal year as they are right now. So we're not proposing any increases. So we would look for a public hearing to receive comments on that and then a motion to approve the resolutions as proposed.
Thank you, City Manager. Again, we'll have a public hearing on the tax levies for the 2022. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to City Commission. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Twardy.
I'd just like to make a comment about the police and fire pension, since I'm the commission liaison to that board. I feel like the board has made some really great decisions over the last couple of years with changing financial advisors, and the pension is performing very well, and it was nice to see that we did not have to increase the millage this year. So thanks to that board for being so proactive.
Good comments. Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? Commissioner Talentino, would you like to make that motion?
Sure, Your Honor. Motion to adopt the included final resolution for purpose of establishing a 2022 tax levy, maintaining the millage for the charter operations at 16.8139 mils, while maintaining the millage for solid waste collection at 0.625 mils, and maintaining the millage for the police and fire pension at 6.2185 mils to meet the requirements for the police and fire pension fund.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baskus Rath.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. E, special orders of business, number 4, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to adopt an ordinance to repeal the 2000 property maintenance code in which we currently administer and adopt the ordinance referring our property maintenance code to the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code. Included in the agenda item on the packet is the link to the code in which we would be adopting. The way our ordinance will be set up is it'll refer our program to these international property maintenance codes. One of the bigger pushes for this update is the fact that we've updated our current building codes to be more modern and reflect an updated version. And without updating that component of our property maintenance code, you can build a new house under the updated building codes, and then the day you get your CO, you'll be in non-compliance on the property maintenance, because there's a lot of conflicts there. So there are a couple of new, I would say, tools within the International Property Maintenance Code that we will be able to enforce on some issues within some residential structures throughout the house. But like I said, the biggest push is just really modernizing and updating our property maintenance code. So this is the second reading tonight. I believe there's a public hearing associated with this as well. Yes. So we'll do a public hearing to receive any kind of comments, and then approval of the two motions. Motion to approve the included ordinance repealing the 2000 property maintenance code, and then motion to approve the included ordinance to adopt the International Property Maintenance Code and successor publications. So the one thing I didn't mention was the ICC updates the codes every 3 years. They look at all the case law surrounding some of the litigation that may be with property maintenance, best practices, whatever else may come up, and then they modify their codes based on that. So it's always being updated as we move forward.
Thank you, City Manager. So we'll have a public hearing on repealing the Sault Ste. Marie Property Maintenance Code and also adopting by reference with local amendments the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code. Is there anybody in the audience that has any comments or questions at this time? We will close the public hearing and move to the commission. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Tuarte.
Well, I feel
Whoa.
like somebody needs to comment something on There's Your Ghost. I just think it's great that we'll be able to always stay updated, and so the fact that they update the codes every 3 years and then we're automatically in that, that's great to keep us up to date. Seems to me it'll save a lot of time and maybe even some money down the road.
Might as well keep your mic on. Would you like to make the motions?
Sure. Let's see, so there's two motions, correct?
Correct,
Correct.
yes.
Okay, motion to approve the included ordinance repealing the 2000 Property Maintenance Code.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
And motion to approve the included ordinance to adopt by reference the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code and successor publications with local amendments set forth in the adopting ordinance.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously also. Moving right along, no communications this evening, so we'll move to item G, which is business items. And again, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to staff to receive some input on how you would like to move forward filling former Commissioner Collins' vacant seat. So tonight, we have accepted the resignation of Commissioner Collins. That officially sets the clock regarding the timeline to fill that seat. Per the city charter, you have 30 days to appoint a person to fill the remaining term of that seat, or defer it to a special election to be held at the November election. So you have one or two options, or you have a couple of different options. You can appoint a person within the next 30 days. The next 30 days, kind of the schedule for the commission meetings, we have a June 6th commission meeting, and then the 30th day would be June 15th, just before our second normally scheduled meeting. So that's just kind of the timeline. If we want to defer it to the end of the 30 days to try to get some applications and appoint someone to the seat, there could be a need for a special meeting just to make sure that we're falling within that 30 days. If the commission would like to defer it to a special election, because a lot of the filing deadlines have came and went, the process would be to have the special election be on the November ballot. I believe the application deadline would be, we can't find, July 26th. So interested applicants would have until July 26th to file the necessary election paperwork in the city clerk's office. It would then go on to the November 8th general election ballot. They would not go into the open commission election. It would be a separate special box, special election on that ballot. So those are kind of your two options. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to entertain them. And again, there's no recommendation with this item, as this is more a political decision, so we left it up to the commission. But we are here to assist you in your discussion.
Thank you, city manager. So let's go to the commission and get some ideas. I think a couple of us have been through this a couple times, and one of us has been through the process on the other end of it, so Commissioner Twardy.
Sure. So I am kind of the opinion that we have 5 people who already filled out their applications to run for commission. And with this empty seat, now we have 4 seats up, because we've got the one that I'm sitting in, the one that you are currently sitting in, Commissioner Talentino's, and then the vacant seat. And we have 5 eligible applicants who have already stepped up and are willing to serve. I would be in favor of having an interview process with the 3 applicants who are not currently serving, and then appointing one of those 3 to the empty seat. They'll still be running in the election, and if they do get elected, then at that point they can, I guess, could they choose whether they want to take the 4-year term or keep the 2-year appointed term, or would they automatically have to take the 4-year?
So they would have their choice, and correct me if I'm wrong. So if that was the process the commission chose to do, let's say person A was interviewed and you guys put them on the vacant seat, the November ballot, if they won one of the seats, they would be able to choose. Are they going to stay on the 4-year term or continue to ride out the 2-year term?
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. So then at that point, they choose. If they kept the 2-year, we still have enough people that we could choose the next person in line to appoint to fill whatever vacant seat. So we have 5 eligible applicants and 4 seats. And in my opinion, only one person, I guess, will not be serving on this commission if we chose to go this route. But to me, this just seems the most practical. If we're going to open it up, we're going to run 2 completely independent elections. We're looking for a new pool of people, and we've already got the 5 that seem like good applicants right now. So that would be, I guess, my opinion on maybe what way we should go, but I'd like to hear from other people.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Bauer.
Well, nothing against the other 3 people who are running who are not currently on the commission, but I think that we would be best served to open it up to the whole community as far as taking applications if we're going to appoint. And the reason I say that is that the more applicants you have, then, the better chances that you'll get, a better person for the job. I mean, as you own a business, would you rather have, 8 applicants for a job or 1 applicant for a job? Now, I know that
It only takes
I
1.
know. I was gonna say that. I have said that before, that it only takes 1, and we're only going to appoint 1. But that doesn't mean that, if someone who, for whatever reason, did not want to run in the fall, maybe they had other things going on in their life whenever we were doing the pulling petitions or whatever the reason is, and maybe that person's the best candidate. I just think that we should open it up to everybody. My opinion.
Thanks,
And
Commissioner.
I do believe we should appoint and not necessarily have a whole other, and if we did have a special election, of course, then that would preclude anybody who's running in our election.
Thank you. Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. For me, as far as actually going through this process just a few years ago, I don't really want to see a special election. I mean, I'm thinking we're looking at the cost of actually doing that can be quite costly. I kind of do agree with Commissioner Twardy on possibly looking at those other 3 scenes they have expressed interest. And then I also agree with you, Commissioner Bauer, on the way you're looking at it. But I guess what I'm thinking is these people have already expressed interest. They pulled a packet. They went through and got all their signatures. And everybody kind of had that opportunity at that time to go ahead and do that process. So I'm kind of leaning towards interviewing one of those 3 and taking that route. And we would hope if one of those 3 do get interviewed and we do go that route, that they would take the 4-year term. They were going to take a 4-year term if they got elected anyhow. So that's just kind of my thought on it. The appointment process is a tough thing for me. I went through it. I'm glad I didn't get appointed. I'm very glad that I had to go through an actual election cycle, run an election, do the whole thing. I think it really gives you a different outlook on this seat and what we do. So, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Boswell-Rath?
I'll chime in too. So my only thing, Commissioner Bauer, with what you said is kind of like Commissioner Talentino said, is that these people, if we open it up to, I'm all for appointing. I don't want to do a special election. We've already done the whole keep it open and anybody can apply. Well, not everybody had that chance. So I'm with you, Commissioner Talentino, on that. And I would be in favor of interviewing those 3 people, and then, having a discussion and seeing, and then hopefully they would choose the 4-year term as well. But I just think we've already given everybody a chance, and these are the people that want to do it. They've shown interest. They've done the footwork as far as getting the signatures and whatnot. So I would be in favor as well.
Thank you. I just wanted to give, Commissioner Miller had indicated, and I know that he's not here to vote, but he thought that he was appointed, and he was the next highest vote getter, as I believe it, in one of the elections. So he strongly believes that from the appointments, we should look at those elections. But he did state that at the last election, the people that ran have kind of disappeared and not expressed any interest in the being appointed. So he didn't think that he would favor going that way. And I agree with the appointment process. I think that we need to fill the seat, and I don't think it would be wise to have an open seat until November. And I think the way that the state is requiring it to have 2 separate pools of applicants is confusing and not really fair to the people that went through the effort to file their notice of intent, to get between 50 and 100 signatures and file the appropriate paperwork at the appropriate time. And I was pretty strongly leaning that I think that we should interview or ask for interviews for the 3 candidates. Commissioner Bauer, you bring up some good points, I guess, that, could be open. I think the 3 that filed the paperwork certainly deserve to be considered. There is some merit to opening it up to see if somebody else hops in there as well. Certainly we want to get the best candidate for the position. The other 3 will obviously have an opportunity at the November election. So, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see, I guess, both directions. But any other, Commissioner Tuarte?
One more comment, just based on what you said, Commissioner Talentino, is you do get a completely different point of view when you have to run for election. And so I think that if we did choose from the pool of 3, no matter what, all 3 of those candidates are still going to have to run in the election, because I would like to think that they're really looking for the 4-year term and not just a 2-year appointed term. So they're still going to have to do the work. They're still going to have to go to the debates. They're still going to have to knock on some doors. And so I like the idea of those 3 people, because they already did express interest. I don't want to think that I'm being closed-minded by just closing it off to those. I guess that I would take a look at opening it up, but I'm really just in favor right now of those 3 because they've already done a lot of the legwork. But I don't want to be narrow-minded and just say nobody else can come and apply.
Sure, Commissioner Bauer.
I guess the question I have is, what harm would it do to allow other people the opportunity to go through the interview process and impress us any more than the 3 that are on the ballot?
Good point. Commissioner Boswell-Rath?
If we opened it up, does that lengthen, does it lengthen the time that it would take to get somebody to sit on this board, or?
It lengthens our
Shouldn't.
day,
Yeah.
is what it does.
Right,
So,
but it doesn't lengthen the process?
no,
Shouldn't.
so if I can just jump in. So I would say, looking at the calendar, if you were to move with just the 3 that's on the ballot, that's not sitting on the commission, we could get them together and probably do the interviews on June 6th, so the next commission meeting. Today being the 16th, if you wanted to open it up, I'm not trying to say this is a bad idea or not, but if you want to open it up, you may want to leave that kind of period open a little bit longer to give people an opportunity to, if there's a form or a questionnaire that the commission wants them to fill out, you may want to give them a little bit more time. And so you would have 3 full weeks, because May is a little bit longer, so you'd have 3. If we got the application stuff out tomorrow, the latest Wednesday, they'd have 2 full weeks by June 1st. Packet goes out the 2nd to the commission. You'd be interviewing the 6th. So I don't know if the commission feels that's too tight of a window, but if we don't come to a decision on the 6th, we're going to have to try to schedule a special meeting before the 15th. And I'm not saying that that's an impossibility or that's a bad idea, but just kind of keep in mind the time frame and how much time you want to give people to weigh the decision, maybe fill out an application, however you guys choose to handle it.
So, any thoughts on time frame then? So we could have the information published within the next couple of days?
Yep,
Give them a week to 2 weeks to respond then?
yep. If you really
I-
want to shoot for the June 6th meeting.
I think I'd rather have a special meeting so that we can concentrate all our time on just the interviews. So we could schedule that after the 6th?
Yep.
We have until the 15th?
You
Bless
have,
you.
sorry. You have until the 15th, yes. So we have a regularly scheduled commission meeting on the 6th. We could do Thursday, the 9th. We could do first thing the week of the 12th. So maybe the 13th or 14th, or even the night of the 15th. I mean, if you want to live like you're in college and wait till the very last minute to get something done there, then we can do it
Well,
on the
it
night of the 15th.
Depend on how many we get too, so.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yes, and that's why I don't know, and that's, yeah.
All right, so does anybody want to make a motion then that, in regard to the process?
Wait.
We can define those dates better, I think.
I just have a question, though. So
Sure.
if we don't appoint on the 6th, then we're going to have a special meeting
Correct,
for the interview process.
correct.
And then we'll have to have a special public meeting for the appointment process.
I
No.
think we appointed that night of the interviews the last time, did we not?
Yes, you
Did
could
we?
do
Okay.
the interviews, we have to notice it that way, so we would do on the agenda, interview of applicants and then selection of candidate, or applicant, or,
I think we
Commissioner.
did it all the same
Okay.
night
yeah, you
last
could do
time.
it
Okay.
the same
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
So I guess we'd look for 2 motions, and you may not need the second one, depending on how you want to handle it. So there'd be a motion regarding the process that you want to, or you want us to follow. So you could do a motion to interview the 3 candidates not sitting on the commission, do a motion to open the application up to the entire community, and then I would say with that second one, then we'd do a motion to schedule a public hearing on whatever day we choose there. So I would say the motion to select your process first, and if needed, a motion to schedule a special meeting if we need it. Does that make sense?
All right, so who would like to make that first motion? Open it up to volunteers. Commissioner Bauer? Was it the tapping on the table?
I wasn't gonna do it, actually, but, well, I mean, and here's the thing. If I'm making the motion, then I'm going to move that we open this process up for interviews. We open it to the community, that we take applications, and that we narrow it down to, let's say, 5 from those applications. We interview those 5 people. If we get 5 applications, who knows? We may not even get 5. We may not get any interest beyond the other 3. You don't know. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. But this is the longest motion in the history of city commission, I think. Strike that as part of the motion, obviously. But anyway.
We can define the process after you make the motion.
That I move that the sitting commissioners appoint the replacement for Commissioner Collins from a pool of 5 people, which we will interview following an application process. Do I need to put a date in for that?
No, I think we'll
No,
define
not
the
yet,
dates. yeah.
but open to the
Later.
community, correct?
Yeah, open to the community. 2 people who live in the city of Sault Ste. Marie.
So real quick, because I want to make sure we're clear on what we're going to be doing moving forward. Robin, could you read back the motion?
I just have
Possibly.
motion to accept applications and conduct 5 interviews to fill the city commission vacancy.
So the only question I would have is how do you plan on, and again, you're right, if we get 5, we're probably lucky we got 5. But let's say we did get 10, how do we narrow down that 5? Would that be on June 6th during that commission meeting, or how would you like to select the 5? Let's say we got 10.
We can do it during the June 6th meeting, sure.
Okay, so just so you understand the timeline, so today's the 16th. We could put the stuff out the next couple of days. We'll have a questionnaire, application packet, whatever you want to call it. We could have the deadline be June 1st, so that gives 2 full weeks for people to fill out the application, get it to the clerk's office. That'll go on the packet for your review on the 2nd of June. And then on the 6th of June, you would narrow down the field to 5. We would have a special meeting before the 15th to interview and select.
Yes, that
Perfect.
is my plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there
Could
support?
Could you read the motion one more time, Robin? I just want to make sure it's all encompassing.
Did you want me to include what you just said as far as the timeline?
Just read
Sure.
the motion
Motion
first.
to accept applications and conduct interviews to fill the city commission vacancy. If you want me to add in a timeline to that.
No. So what I said, if that's what the commission is wanting to move forward with, that's how we'll handle it under Commissioner Bauer's motion.
Can I ask a question before
Sure.
support? Okay. So does that mean then that the city is going to reach out to the 3 other applicants that are on the ballot and tell them that they can be part of the process and the commission's
Yes, and I'm
inviting
sure
them?
we won't even have to, but yeah, we can.
Well,
Correct, yeah.
you don't know if they watch the meetings, so let's
Well,
hope
I
they
would
do.
hope, one would hope, yeah.
Okay,
But, yeah,
okay.
we can't exclude them.
Right,
So,
right. I
yes.
just wanted them
Right.
to know that they can be included in that process, so,
Yep.
okay, that was
Is
my
there
question.
support for the motion?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any other questions or comments on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We need a second part?
Okay, so we'll get the stuff out in the next couple of days. 18th is our head deadline. 2 weeks, we'll take all the applications by close of business, June 1st. They'll go out and pack it June 2nd. The selection down to 5 on June 6th. So we would need a motion and approval to schedule the special meeting for the interview and selection process on whatever date, at whatever time, in whatever location the commission chooses.
But we'll do that on June 6th.
No, I would do that tonight so we can get the schedule kind of hammered out.
Well, if anybody has their calendars, I guess we'll check those. You're correct.
Yes, before June 15th. We could technically do it on June 6th, but I'm gonna push you guys to try to do it tonight, so that we have an understanding, we can communicate what the expectations are and what the dates will be for the interested individuals.
I
Does
can
anybody,
do,
oh,
I-
sorry.
I can do any day that week, but I would prefer an evening.
What week?
Yeah, we'd have to.
The week of the 6th, yeah, because you don't get off the boat until 6, and I pop popcorn all day, but, yeah. So if we could do it in the evening. 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th. Probably not a Friday.
Or the following Monday, the 13th.
Are we pushing it there, Mayor?
Hmm?
Are we pushing our time there?
Well, the
Well, we have till
13th,
the 15th.
the 15th is your deadline, but the 13th will still work.
I move for the 8th.
Support.
What time?
Time to-
7.
Support.
Okay, so it's been moved to have a special meeting on Wednesday, June 8th, at 7 PM to conduct interviews and make a selection, correct?
Correct.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
And obviously, that meeting is here.
Correct.
Correct. Special meeting.
And the lucky candidates will probably be televised on cable channel and YouTube channel. All right, thank you very much, everybody. So moving on to G, business items number 2. City Manager Chapman. Want me to stall a little?
You can talk more about Abbey Rock. I just want to get this on your guys' calendar right now.
No problem.
All right, so we got June 8th, 7 PM, City Commission Chambers.
So, to anybody in the audience or out in, watching on TV, if you are interested in applying for the position, we'll have a application packet with questions for you to answer. Will be available in at least 2 days. It'll be due back to the city on June 1st, you said?
Yep.
And then we will make some narrowing selections on June 6th. And we will conduct interviews on June 8th at 7 o'clock here in the City Commission chambers to determine who the next lucky city commissioner is to fill a 2-year and few-month term.
And just on a side note real quick, I'll send the commission a set of questions and scoring rubric that I used downstate when I went through this process as well. It's a good starting spot. If you guys have any other changes or questions that you want to add on there, we can do that at a time, but I'll send it out to you all tomorrow and you can review it, and it'll be our kind of our starting point for the questions for the interview. And then I think I have an application made up from downstate when I went through this process as well. And I'll send it to you early tomorrow. You know, if you have any comments by the end of the day, get them to us, and that way we can get that application out as soon as possible, so. All right, sorry,
Ready?
where are we at?
Item 2, business items.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to the parking permit structure as well as approval of 2 traffic control orders. So this is kind of stemming from a conversation that we started a while ago. We have made some changes. The commission will recall that when we first made this proposal, we were looking to do a general parking permit that allowed you to park in any spot in any parking lot and facilitate metered parking with the app. The feedback that we received was the app is a no-go, so we're pivoting away from that, and we'll be looking into kiosks instead of the physical meter heads. The only way to make kiosks work is to restrict permit parking back to permit-only signed parking. If we kept it kind of for lack of a better term, a free-for-all on the parking permit, then that's not going to accommodate the businesses and their needs. So what we'll do, the traffic control orders are general in nature, that allows us a little bit of wiggle room, but we will sign kind of in the green spaces on the edges of the parking lots, parking permit only, and keep the rest of the parking for customers and businesses. And then we'll move with kiosks that we'll have to bring to the commission to approve that as well. So the traffic control orders, we have two things we're approving tonight. The consolidation of the permit structure from special parking, basically just to a parking permit and a 24-hour parking permit, and then approval of the two traffic controls, 22-02 and 22-03. So just to reiterate, we'll be kind of going back to the way the parking lots were before the downtown access and placemaking project, with signed, restricted, permit-only parking kind of along the edges of the parking lots, and then kiosks to facilitate the metered parking closer to the businesses.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions for City Manager on this item? Commissioner Twardy?
Well, not a question, just a comment. This adaptation to this makes me much happier. I was really concerned about the mobile app only, and I know a lot of people love the mobile app, but there's a lot of people that love, well, like my parents, who have a cell phone and they forget to bring it with them, and they don't know how to use apps and stuff like that. And they come to town every single day to go for a walk, and they're happy to feed a meter, but they would not break the law. So then they would just choose not to park, and they would just go somewhere else. So I like this much better, and I like the idea of the kiosks, and because we don't want to see our brand new parking lots all ruined and destroyed. So thank you for working so hard on it. Thanks to city staff. I appreciate that.
Thanks for your comments. Anybody else? Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we still can continue to use the mobile app?
Correct, we can and we will.
Okay.
We won't do away with it. We have it now.
Okay.
Some people do use it. I use it myself. And we will continue to provide that. So some people can either feed the kiosk or use the app.
Okay, yeah, just as long as that's the case. I like the idea that with these TCOs that they can be tweaked.
Yes.
I think that's a very important thing. We might find out something doesn't work, and that gives at least city staff the ability to kind of tweak and change things up a little bit, so that's very good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Certainly thanks to the business owners that came to our public hearing when we discussed this, and it did change the trajectory of this quite a bit. And thank you to the administration for listening and changing it to accommodate their special needs and to take I don't want to say less severe change, but make it a little bit more friendly kind of in all areas, so appreciate that. Commissioner, where are we? Who'd like to make the Commissioner Bosphus wrath?
Motion to consolidate the permit structure to parking permit and 24-hour parking permit.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. G, business items.
Nope, one more.
Whoop, sorry. Yeah, okay. Trying to move it along.
It's okay. Motion to approve TCOs 22-02 and 22-03.
Support?
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much. Now we move along to item 3. City
Thank you, Mr.
Manager.
Mayor. Last for tonight is a consideration to enter into a school resource officer agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and Sault Ste. Marie Public Schools. The public schools have approached the police department about securing an officer to act as a school resource officer. They will split time between the middle school and the high school. The attached agreement has been reviewed by the school board and have been voted in an affirmative on their side of it. The contract stipulates a payment for the services, first year being $100,000, second year being $103,000, and third year being $105,000. So it kind of escalates a little bit with the wage rate within the bargained union contracts. So we feel it's a good program. It's going to assist the police department and Chief Bierling in working with the schools and trying to deal with issues at that level before they come out in the public and possibly a little bit bigger. So the police department and the schools are excited for this opportunity, and we would look for a motion to approve the contract as presented.
Thank you very much, City Manager, and thank you, Superintendent Cronemeyer, for sitting so patiently. I know it's been kind of long. Does anybody have any questions or comments for the City Manager or Superintendent or Police Chief? Commissioner Torti.
Questions, but I'm not sure who for. So the resource officer, they'll be working on the calendar year. So what happens to that officer when they're not working during the calendar year? Are they just on off pay, or are they just not working, just like teachers, or?
Nope, so they will, more than likely, they'll take their vacations around the school vacations. But like the summer and maybe the long vacations in the winter, they'll be rolled back into the patrol and they'll be out on the beat.
Okay, thank you. That was question number one. And then I did see down, as far as fiscal impact, you were saying that it is going to cover almost all of the costs, but except for equipment, training, vehicle, overtime, and et cetera. What do you anticipate those costs to be to the city?
Not really a whole lot. We just didn't want the contract to come across as it's going to cover everything. It's going to be a currently uniformed officer, so the equipment and all that stuff we'll already have.
Okay,
So, but we just didn't want to paint it as the contract is going to cover everything.
okay, thank you. And then just a comment, I am in favor of this after speaking with a couple of the city police officers. I guess for a while I kept thinking, well, Sault Ste. Marie Area Public Schools belong to the taxpayers, not to the city of Sault Ste. Marie, so I was kind of not really feeling like it was a city of Sault Ste. Marie issue, but when you speak to the police officers, they would rather it be a city police officer who's in there in the schools, because it just makes it a lot easier to work closely related because they are located in the city. And so I think it's a great idea. I think we all have been talking about this for how many years when they had the vaping problem. And I think that it's just going to improve the safety and the quality of Sault Area Public Schools. And thank you to Mrs. Cronemeyer for coming to us with this program. I think it's going to be great partnership.
Anybody else have any, Commissioner Talentino?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I am all for this. I think it's a great program, and I won't speak for any of my other fellow commissioners, and I never will. But for me, I think the safety of our youth is a very important thing. I think with this program being
Speak
gone.
for us, go ahead.
Nope, I won't do it, never have, never will. I think it's, after being gone a few years, I think we need this. We live in some pretty strange times right now. I do think that this is a very key position. I do think it will bring a respect issue to the law enforcement community as well, which I think is a very big thing that we need these days. So in closing, if nobody else wants to make the motion, I'd be more than happy to do it.
All right, well, any other, Commissioner Brassos Rath?
Just a quick comment. Yeah,
That was quick.
gosh, that was way too fast. Being a mom of children, now 3, there's nothing worse than getting a text from your child saying, we're on lockdown. So if this kind of hinders any of that, because these are crazy times, I tell you what, it drops your heart. So I'm in all favor for this.
Thanks, Commissioner. And Superintendent, did you want to say any words, or are you just here to support? Okay, if you'd like to come to the microphone, we'll give you an opportunity.
So you're correct. We are living in very difficult times. We're rebounding from a global pandemic that has left many of our students at home, not getting the social emotional support their parents were working. It's not a blame, it's just a reality. And so we're trying to support them the best that we can. We've talked, Chief Bierling and I, a lot about, yes, this is safety and security, but it's also about building relationships and education. In the early 2000s, I was the Safe and Drug-Free Schools Coordinator at the Eastern Upper Peninsula ISD. We supported bullying programs, character education programs, and the DARE program, if you recall that. Maybe you had children participate. A lot of those went away, and it's time that we get them back. We lead with education first, make sure that the students know the consequences to their action, but that they have this safe space to learn. They're young. They sat at home for a lot of time, and now we need to get them back, and I think we can do that through partnerships within the city. And we also have, we have 5 schools, 4 of them within city limits, and 1 Malcolm out at Sioux Township Elementary. That one would be covered under the county SROs and is currently. So this would really support what we're trying to do. Since Chief Bierling came, we've been meeting regularly. Our safety and operations plan was the first thing that we tackled, both in new positions. We got that together, and because we did that, we also got a $250,000 Michigan State Police grant. Without that work that we put together, without all of the binders that are in each of the police cruisers, these are all steps that we've put in place to ensure that my children, your children, they're safe to the best of our ability every day without fail. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Glad you mentioned partnerships. You said it much more eloquently than I was going to, so. Commissioner Talentino, if you'd like
Thank
to
you,
make
Your
a motion.
Honor. Yes, I'm more than happy to make the motion to approve the SRO agreement with the City of Sault Ste. Marie Public Schools.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments before we have a voice vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you very much. Okay, when the typist is done, so we'll move on into city manager announcements and updates. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I am happy to introduce our new fire chief, Ed Miller. Ed, if you want to come up real quick. I know we all had a chance to meet you before the meeting, with the exception of Commissioner Bauer, but Ed started with us. Sorry. Shouldn't throw a sitting commissioner under the bus like that. I mean, he was here. He was here the whole time. Ed started with us today. He was here bright and early at the fire hall. He'd actually been at the fire hall a few times before the official start today. But he's had a tour of the city. He's getting to know the city and the department. So Mr. Miller comes to us from Sterling Heights. He's with them about 25, 30 years. He rose to the ranks of assistant fire chief. He sat as the interim fire chief while he was down there as well. We're incredibly excited to have somebody like Mr. Miller within the fire department. I feel that he's going to be able to help move our fire department along into a very positive direction of the future. We beat out the city of Lansing for Mr. Miller, so I don't know if that's good to say that we got the second from Lansing, but we beat Lansing, so I'm perfectly happy with that. But I'm excited to introduce him to you all. So Ed's going to give probably about a 5-minute biography presentation to you guys. Mr. Miller, take it away.
Not 5 minutes, but I really appreciate the opportunity to come to the city of Sault Ste. Marie to be your fire chief. I'm very excited about it. It's a lot of great people, a lot of great history that we can learn from, and there's a lot of opportunities to really move the fire department forward for the citizens, and that's what we're here for. We're not here for ourselves, we're here for you guys. And that's a primary goal that I want to make sure that everybody understands, that it's about service. So I look forward to the opportunity. I look forward to working with everybody, including other city departments, because as said earlier, it's all about partnerships. We have to work together and understand that everybody's got some skin in the game to make this a great city. So I appreciate the opportunity. Love being on the happy side of the Mackinac Bridge, and I look forward to being here and working with all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Alrighty.
Well, on behalf of the commission, I just wanted to say welcome to Chief Miller, and you look much, much better in the Sault Ste. Marie whites than the uniform that your picture was in the paper. Welcome to the Sioux.
All right, just a quick update. Director Perrin was supposed to be here to help me out with this next one, but he is out on a funeral today, so he won't be able to make it. But Harvey Marina, so the commission has discussed the Harvey Marina a few meetings ago. Obviously, that was paired with a rate discussion for the marina. Since then, Tyler has made it a priority to start doing some improvements down there. He's ordered, I can't remember the term, he's ordered a ton of wood to start replacing out the docks. I think he said that he was able to purchase enough to replace 5 docks this summer, so they've already started working on it. They're looking at a plan for the parking lot to try to increase space down there. One of the comments, or some of the comments we received from the users at the marina was that there's not enough parking, and they're parking on the grass, and they'd like something better. So there's a plan moving forward with that. Tyler had a few other things that he was working on, and like I said, I was hoping he'd be here tonight, but I just want you to know that we are moving forward with some of the repairs. We are making it a priority for this summer, and we'll keep you guys in the loop as we move forward. We haven't scheduled the user meeting yet, but we will here shortly. So other than that, just a reminder, I'll be out of the office on May 27th, kind of paired out with holiday for Memorial Day. So other than that, I have nothing else. I'll get back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any questions for the city manager, Commissioner Twardy?
I just have a quick question. Have you heard about, so there's a new cruise ship, and it left St. Clair Shores, one day last week, and it's supposed to be sailing through the Sioux Locks pretty soon here. Do you have any information on that?
No.
Okay.
I can look.
Okay.
I don't. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
I thought it was supposed to be one day this week. There's a bunch of boat nerds that are pretty excited about it. But it'd be neat to have some information about it. It's a big one.
I know there was a naval vessel that came through the other day.
I had
but,
just heard about that. That's pretty darn cool, too.
but I will see what I can find out for you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none. We'll move on into item I, which is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Everybody's commented out. Moving on into item J, which is matters presented by the City Commission. Does the City Commission have any comments? So, Commissioner Boswell.
I'm good now.
Good.
Just wanted to remind everybody that this Friday is Ladies' Night downtown. So if you don't have anything to do or you want to get some ladies together, head downtown for the Ladies' Night. It's always fun.
Commissioner Twardy.
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to City Manager Brian Chapman and his family, and then Commissioner Miller, who attended citywide cleanup. I know that you were working, so you weren't there, and I know that your family always does your block, and that was what I did tell the Sioux leader. And then I know that you had a special project up at, yeah, I heard that. So you might want to join the City Commission next year. Breakfast at Frank's, and then we always clean up West Pier. It was really great. I think because we do it every single year, it stays pretty well maintained, but we're still always very proud of how we clean that up. And then number 2, I wanted to remind everybody that the Chamber of Commerce luncheon is tomorrow. How Tony Haller got a guy from the Federal Reserve to come and be the guest speaker, I have no. That's pretty darn cool, especially because there's 8 people who set the principal interest rates for the entire country, and he's one of those 8 people. So I'm trying to come up with a question that doesn't make me sound dumb. So we'll see. I think I've got one. So anyway, it should be a really good luncheon, very informative.
Thank you, and thanks for pinch hitting for me at the breakfast when I was in Detroit. So, anybody else have any? Commissioner Talentino.
One real quick one. And as far as the citywide cleanup goes, I launch out of Ashman Bay every morning, and I don't know who has been doing it or who did it, but kudos to whoever cleaned that area up. They actually started about a week before the citywide cleanup. They had a massive amount of trash, actually right out by the sign. So kudos to the citizens that did that. I don't have no idea who you are. I'd never seen you out there. But kudos for doing that ahead of time, because man, did they pick up an absolute ton of trash. They even found a love seat up on top of the hill, so. Kudos to whoever you are, and thank you for your time.
Good comments. Anybody else? Commissioner Twardy.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and supported to adjourn this meeting. All in favor, say aye.